God is good, and I know that I just recently, a couple of weeks ago, had released a video about EverQuest 3, and is it in development? Well, it seems that we've gotten another tiny piece of information regarding EverQuest 3. Now, I already know what most of you are thinking, and that is the fact that we already know that a true successor to EverQuest is being made. The next evolution of EverQuest has been in development, and we already have a lot of information about it, and that game is actually called Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, and I say that with full confidence that it is the actual successor to EverQuest. However, keeping the actual EverQuest brand alive, I believe, is still important. I do not want to see this franchise, this EverQuest, this world of Norath just laid to the side and trampled on for all of time until it finally peters out and they close the servers, and then all we have left are, no offense to those servers, but all that then we would have left would be these throwback servers such as P99, EverQuest Reborn, etc. I don't want to see that. I want to see something happen with the EverQuest series, and thankfully it looks like we got confirmation from Daybreak that they are going to do something with the franchise in the future. In other words, they are going to continue it. They're not just going to let it die. Now, that could be selling it out to another publisher who's a little bit more experienced, who can give it a little bit more love. I don't know. It could mean that Daybreak actually is going to try to compete with Pantheon. I know that was a rumor in the past. I wouldn't do that if I were them. I don't think that's wise. I'm pretty sure Brad McQuaid has the upper hand in that kind of situation. However, whatever they want to do, it would be nice to see EverQuest continue. So the direct quote from Holly Longdale is number one about EverQuest Next and why it didn't happen. We were told basically it was because the game just wasn't fun enough. That's what I heard. That was the official story I read. But now, apparently, Holly Longdale is now saying that it was the technical challenges were too great to overcome. The exact quote, actually, is there was a real nugget of an idea there, but a technical hurdle the team just couldn't get over. All the other stuff that EverQuest is kind of got lost because it was focused on voxels and dynamically generated changing world. She also went on to say that the cancellation hurt, but it was necessary to pave the way for a more viable future, and that they have taken the past few years to contemplate and evaluate what is it that makes EverQuest EverQuest. She confirmed that they believe it includes classic high fantasy and community dependency. And then she says, whatever we do in the future, we're going to embrace what we are. We'll mix something we think is the next evolution for EverQuest. Now, that could mean absolutely anything, and I've been reading through and seeing what other people believe, and a lot of people, of course, are claiming that Daybreak should just sell the IP to a more, no offense to Daybreak, I guess, but a decent, more credible company who will give it the love it deserves while it still has fans left. Here is my theory. I would like to see an EverQuest 3, even though I wouldn't even be as excited about it as I am Pantheon, because Pantheon is the true evolutionary successor. I would still like to see it. I would still like to see Norath with new graphics and new UI. I think that would be fantastic. And as long as they even gave us enough nostalgia areas and things like that, I think it would do well. I think it would do pretty good. I think they could sustain and definitely make a decent income on that. But I don't think that's what they're actually talking about right now. What I think that they're talking about, there's a couple of EverQuest things that I feel like are in the works. And one has already been officially announced, they just kind of haven't talked about it for a long time, and that is the EverQuest mobile game, okay? Where the original EverQuest is supposed to be coming out for mobile, okay? Everything she says, and I know that it was worded in such a way to make you feel that she meant a certain thing, but if you actually think about EverQuest, the original, re-releasing in a capacity of mobile, that kind of fits the narrative of everything that she said, okay? And like bringing it to mobile opens it up to more players, that kind of thing. I mean, I think that's kind of lame. I think it should be on mobile. I mean, the games definitely could run on mobile devices. I'm not arguing that. I just don't care about mobile gaming at all. It means nothing to me. My heart does not beat to that drum. However, I do think that there is still the possibility that they would team up with someone a little bit more savvy to MMORPGs, and even maybe somebody from the past that worked with the original EverQuest. I could see them forming some kind of relationship and getting a development studio actually going, and I mean a real making new content kind of situation, and trying to make a sequel to EverQuest. And I think, honestly, if there's any brains left at Daybreak, and once again, I'm not trying to be demeaning, I'm really trying not to be, but if they understand their fan base at all, and they should, I mean, there's so much data, obviously, to support what I'm about to say, then they would hopefully understand that that player base wants group-focused gameplay, okay? Because as they've changed, added things to NORAD, it has made the world smaller. I mean, technically the world is bigger, but it's made the world feel smaller, and it's made the people less connected, and it has made people leave, because that was what made EverQuest special and different. Hopefully, no matter what they decide to do, they understand that. And the other thing I wanted to mention about this whole thing is that this could be not an MMO. Let's keep that in mind. There was a rumor a little while back that they were actually making the next EverQuest and focusing on Battle Royale. Okay, now this is just a rumor. It's probably bullcrap. I hope it is. I really hope it is. But let's think of other EverQuest games that come out. So there was a Diablo-style game that came out on PS2. There was actually 2 of them, Champions of Norath. Great little series, fun, great little co-op, couch co-op game. And I could see them, you know, they could expand into territories like that and just try, and it might be smarter to do that. You know, it's been so long since there was a new EverQuest game of any sort that it might be smart, and especially with the burn, the horrible scars left behind in so many gamers' hearts with EverQuest Next and that whole fiasco, which I'm not going to get into, but geez, you're going to have to almost rebrand to make people forget about Landmark and all of that after you abandoned it. Could they reopen that project? They could, but I don't think they're going to. The wording they keep using is that that just wasn't a good idea, that they couldn't do it. So no, I don't think. Now, they could use assets from it. You know what I mean? Graphical assets. I would do that, since there was obviously, I mean, you can tell from the trailers from EverQuest Next, there was a lot going on there. So it seems like they could definitely use some assets from that in order to make the development for another EverQuest game, whatever kind of game it might be. I mean, that was a decent little graphic style. It wasn't what I personally like, but you know, it looked good. It's one of those stylistic art types that would last a really long time, which is important to an MMO, of course. And that kind of brings me into my next point, which is, what if they took those graphics, right? They used the Landmark and everything they built as like their tools to build a MMORPG. They don't have to use the actual giving the players the tools to build and all that kind of stuff it was going to be with EverQuest Next, but they use it to build a new game. And get this, I know I'm reaching far, but it's not too crazy to think that they might take those assets and take a look around at what's working in the MMO space, because I wouldn't try to compete with Pantheon. If I was them, I just wouldn't do it. Unless they're way further in development than we think they are, and they've done a really good job of keeping it a secret, and they really have something competitive, I would not try to compete with Brad McQuaid if I was them. So instead, if they tried to compete with the general MMO market and just make it a little bit more group focused, because it's going to have to do that for it to work, and then they say, I know a market that Pantheon isn't going, that still doesn't have a good, full, group-focused MMO, the console market. And they've done it before. Technically, what I mean by they is EverQuest has done it before with EverQuest Online Adventures, which has a huge following. A lot of people, that was their first MMO. It brought them to PC gaming, it brought them into MMORPGs, and it's just a fantastic experience and a lot of nostalgia, and it is something that would really shock the world, and I think that's shocking enough to maybe, if they get the right people in place, if they get everything cooking just right, to make people forget about the epic failure of EverQuest Next and be willing to give EverQuest Online Adventures 2, or whatever they call it. I would give it a new name. I wouldn't call it that. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that would be a good idea. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what it would be. And it would be an EverQuest Norath for consoles, but still focused on group gameplay. And consoles is a place Pantheon so far has not even mentioned, although they could go there. I would like to also mention they could go there. They could definitely go to console later on if the funding and everything's right and the game launches as beautifully and smooth and everything's great on PC. They could move over to console next because the 12 ability thing, etc., etc. I think the game would work there. But anyway, that's not what they're planning right now. And if EverQuest wanted to stake new ground and do this new thing and have a better shot at success, I think the console markets would be better for them in that regard. Tell me what you think about that, because that's a wild, crazy theory, but I like it, and it's just crazy enough to be possibly true. And those graphics, the reason I thought of that, those graphics for EverQuest Next, they were to go with that would, I think it would go over well. It would transition well into the console market. And another thing I just got to say in this video, and that's something somebody said in my comments on my last video when I was hypothesizing about EverQuest 3, now that we they kind of are pushing towards that, guys. It's kind of like they're slowly trying to wade us back into the water that they're going to possibly make a new EverQuest. But like a guy said in my comments, I just want to kind of read that to you, and that was that once Pantheon is up and successful, he would like to see Brad buy EverQuest back. Now that is cool. I like that. So if Pantheon did good, and I mean really good, where they had the profits to spare, and they could do more hiring and split up, and make a bigger team so that they could have a team working on the EverQuest franchise. They could have their team continuing on with Pantheon. That would be cool, because I think Brad McQuaid, if anybody, could actually make EverQuest awesome again, then it would be Brad McQuaid. So that would be cool. And the Visionary Realms team, of course, I'm not just saying Brad McQuaid, Jaffa, Bendine, all those are wonderful people who get it. So that would be wonderful, and I would like to see that. And generally from the comments, I mean, a lot of people, they just don't have faith in Daybreak anymore. EverQuest Next, the changes that have been made to the original EverQuest. EverQuest 2, I mean, people are just tired of it in general, and I'm not speaking from my own point of view. I'm just reading what people are saying, and they're not happy. I mean, I guess we all kind of know that, but it's disheartening that the company that has the rights to do whatever they want with EverQuest are disliked by their own fan base so heavily. Now, not everybody, not absolutely everybody. I had someone in my comments on my last EverQuest video who told me that the latest expansion was his favorite of all time, and he's been playing since the very beginning. So obviously there are people who don't feel that way. But in any case, guys, if you want a guaranteed shot at that feeling, not the exact game, but the feeling and the community and the group-focused gameplay, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is the actual successor to EverQuest, okay? It's not got the EverQuest name on it, okay? That's probably a good thing at this point. However, it does have the man, the legend, Brad McQuaid behind it. So if you found this video because you're hoping for EverQuest 3 to be a glorious return to the feelings and the kind of memories that were made in EverQuest, and you're not following Pantheon Rise of the Fallen, then I highly suggest going on my channel, into the playlist, and watching the hundreds of videos that I have about all the features, everything, speculation, rumors, interviews, everything you can think of. I have information there for you to check out and catch up on Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Guys, that's really all I had to say today, but you know, when I make a little hypothesis and say, hey, guess what, maybe they're making EverQuest 3, and then a week and a half later, they announce that the EverQuest series is going to have a future. They are going to make new games with the EverQuest brand on it. I mean, come on, guys, I had to make a video saying, I told you so. We're headed down that path in some fashion or form. But guys, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that already. And until next time, God bless and happy gaming. Please listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. My friends all say I'm it's a video buffet. You can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize, but just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.